You treat me like dirt. Worse than dirt. Like, I don't even exist anymore. And when you do notice me, it's only to treat me like shit in front of your teammates and the rest of the school. You could have any girl you want, but no. You have to pick Stacy, the only girl I've ever loved. How am I gonna compete against a football star? You'll find out. How am I gonna compete against a football star? You'll find out.
So, what else do we know about him?
Well, he told one of my players last week that he bought a new gun.
But he's been hunting since he was a kid.
Well, if he's a hunter, that's not a change in conduct. But it does tell us he has access to guns. What we're looking for now are behavioral clues that show change.
Randy quit the Spanish club last week.
Have you spoken with the teacher in charge of that?
I don't care about the Spanish club. It's obvious he's about to snap.
We respond to situations like this all the time, and what we see is kids like this don't just snap. They move through a series of behaviors on a trajectory towards violence.
You on your way home?
No, this is just perfect. Did you just not see me here at all?
You were going the wrong way in the first place.
Okay, calm down. I need license and insurance from both of you.
Oh, my husband is gonna freak.
Yeah, well, so's my mom, so thanks for that.
Hey, I'm on my way to my last final now.
Great. We'll be there in 30 minutes. Will you be ready to go when you're done with your test?
I still have a little packing to do.
Sarah!
Mom, I didn't have time to pack last night. I had to study. This is a really tough class.
Sarah, you know we have to be at the party by 3, and there might be snow coming.
Mom, I gotta go. I'm running late. I'll see you soon. I love you. Bye.
Wait, what were we studying late last night, girlfriend? Mixology?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Hey.
Shots fired. Longfellow Hall. Limit and Whalen en route.
There you are.
Take the shot, Chief. Take the shot.
This had better be important. Where? Danny, come on. Injuries? What about the shooter? Who's on the scene? Okay, get a hold of tactical. Call for mutual aid. And make that perimeter wide. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Okay, everyone, put your bags away. Please remember to put your names on your test. You'll have an hour for this exam.
How's Randy's relationship with his parents?
I'm not sure. I know he's been a troubled kid since middle school.
I'm sorry, I have to go. There's been some sort of shooting at the university. Agent Simmons will stay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to go too.
Can we get news on that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Call the president's office. Tell them to put out an incident alert. I want it out on all social media. And I want everyone waved away from East Campus. I need to take this. Give me some good news, Mary.
I'm so sorry, I just got the word. I'm en route. How can we help?
I've got 1 and possibly 2 shooters, and I've only got 8 sworn on day shift. I haven't talked to Wilson at State Police, but I'm gonna need bodies.
I can send you tactical and evidence teams and agents for interviews too, if that helps.
Send whatever you can. I'll see you there. Jesus.
Mary, what do you have?
Sir, I just got off the phone with Carl Stam, the new chief at Appomattox.
How bad is it? What's he need?
There's at least 1 shooter and multiple casualties.
We'll put you on speaker.
The chief only has a few on shift, so he asked if we could send tactical, evidence collection, and agents for interviews.
He'll need media help and victim assistance, too.
Tell the chief we'll send 2 evidence teams, tactical, and agents on the way. Have you spoken to headquarters yet?
Yes, sir. I confirmed with SIOC that there was a shooter and that we'd have someone on scene shortly.
Mary, Metz and his people will be on their way to you shortly.
Sir, I'll connect up with evidence and get them going too.
Good. Pull 3 crim squads in the JTTF and get them rolling along to help with interviews. We can always send people home if we don't need them.
Yes, sir.
Don will stay here and coordinate with SIOC. Headquarters will want to have a critical incident conference call soon to see what assets we might want to mobilize and support. Lavelle, call me when you know more. I'm on my way there.
Yes, sir. I'll be there in about 5.
Where is it? Where is it?
We're going from 1 to 2.
Mr. Help!
Please stop.
Get down here! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Breaking news of a shooting on the Appomattox University campus. Now, all we know right now is that students are reporting through social media that shots have been fired in at least 1 building on campus. There's also reports of multiple injuries. It is unclear at this time if there's 1 or more shooters.
We have initial reports of a shooting on the Appomattox University campus. We know this week marks the end of final exams before students head home for winter break.
Come on, Sarah, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick
As you can see, it's still very chaotic.
Oh my God. We have so many graduates there.
We don't have a plan for something like this. It would be a nightmare.
Police and fire train for this all the time. They can help you put a plan together.
Now, we want to remind you that this is all unconfirmed information. The university and campus police have not yet responded to our calls.
Where's Captain Wilson? Thanks. Hey, Vince. Fred. What's the status, Denisa?
We have a shooter down. Dave Whalen's been hit, but he's coming out under his own power with Lynette. We know we have injured kids inside Longfellow Hall, and there are unconfirmed reports of a second shooter and possible bullet strikes in the science building.
Vince, can you get that checked out? Sure, I'm on it. Can you get someone else to do it? I want all the commanders here with me. Right. Fred, what do you have?
I've got 20 troopers inbound from Division 2, and I can get more if you need them.
Great. Clarence?
Right. Got 2 ambulances on site, have more on the way. Command post is 10 minutes out.
Good, we'll set up unified command here. Do you have tactically trained EMS?
I do.
Good, we'll use them. Fred, can your people take them inside?
I can give you 3 troopers right now. We can set up tactical over there.
Okay, that'll be great. Hey, Mary, what do we have from the FBI?
Tactical is beginning to arrive.
Okay. Well, I guess we all get to go home then. Okay, Vince, come on.
It's your show, Carl. Vince, we're here to support.
Look, we're going to need all the help we can get. My people are just now getting the long guns out of the lockup.
Evidence and a bunch of agents should also be here within the hour, but you've got a hell of a traffic problem back there.
Okay, let's get a clean road in and out for the ambulances, and let's get this lot cleared for Unified Command.
Got it.
Okay?
She's still not answering.
Call 911.
It's busy.
Can't come this way. I'm sorry. Back up.
Appomattox PD, Kim. Yes, ma'am. Is this an emergency?
Yes, ma'am. We are aware of the situation.
We're currently experiencing a university emergency. Would you be able to call back?
Is your life in danger?
Are you in danger?
Can you hold, please?
Could you hold,
Can
please?
you hold, please?
Yes. Is this an emergency?
Number 24, can you give me your location? Is Thompson near you? Jake, we've got students calling from inside the building, parents, the media, and I can't answer the phones and handle the radio.
I've already had 2 women call who think their son's the shooter.
Track down the chief and let him know we're overwhelmed here.
On it.
Appomattox PD, Spears, can you hold, please?
Hi, guys. Chuck Metz, how can we help?
Henry Collins, I need 2 more to go in with EMS. Can you do that?
Absolutely. How's your radio operability?
I'm county.
Okay. Suggest we put your county guys on separate teams. We'll do the same.
You gotta be kidding. We haven't trained with these guys.
It's a big building. We have to have comms to do this right.
He's right. The training's the same everywhere you go. If you're number 1 in line, you're 1. If you're 2, you're 2. Come on. Let's do this.
Fred, who are they?
Harbin County, I think. Must have self-deployed.
Denisa, find a staging area for all the stray cats. See if you can find their commanders and send them over here.
Got it, Chief.
Chief, dispatch is overwhelmed. They can't get any calls out. Couldn't reach you.
Give me an hour and we can have an 800 number set up for victims and families. That'll take some pressure off.
We'll do it.
We can also get you some media people to help manage your communications.
That is not my top priority.
Look, the sooner you talk to the press, the quicker you'll stem the panic.
Denisa, do you copy?
Yes, Chief.
The FBI is going to give us an 800 number to help with the victims and families. They're also going to give us some media support. Can you coordinate with their press people?
Roger that, Chief.
It's my wife. Stay with me and take messages. Don't bother me unless it's important. Tell Judy I'm okay, but I can't talk to her right now.
Yes, sir.
Status?
A shooter is down, boss, but they're chasing reports of a second one. We have multiple casualties, more than a dozen.
Who's running Unified Command?
Sir Carl Stan, chief of the campus police, former Newark PD. Very competent, but he lacks capacity. Vince Brittani, sheriff. Clarence Thompson, fire. Fred Wilson, state police. Everyone's leaning forward. Brittani's making it a bit of a pissing match.
That's Vince. He's a good man, though. I've worked with him.
Chief?
Chief, I'm Ron Zarnecki.
Chief Thompson.
Wilson, sir.
Chief, I know you've been working with Agent Lavelle, but is there anything else you need from us?
Yeah, you can shoot that damn thing down.
Well, I don't think I can shoot that down, but we can certainly clear the airspace.
Great.
Lavelle, call SIOC.
Thanks, Ron.
This is live picture coming in. We're seeing it just as you're seeing it for the first time. So many students are coming out of this building in a panic. Many of these students are simply running for cover, hands up, or just running to get out.
They tell us there was a shooting in Longfellow Hall. Someone opened fire on students taking final exams. There's a lot we don't know right now. People did manage to flee Longfellow Hall. One of them was Amy Alexander. Amy, what happened?
I was finishing my psych exam, and I came out and I saw these two guys, and they were just shooting at everybody down the hall. And
That's
I
unlikely.
ran in the other direction, but
what?
I think they're
Well, in 15 years, we've had maybe 2 incidents with multiple shooters.
Really?
Cops show up in street clothes wanting to help, and they carry a gun. People see them and think they're the bad guys. Early information is often inaccurate.
What about the perimeter, Vince?
State has the wide perimeter, Carl. My people are dealing with campus traffic.
Okay, good. Clarence, what about the casualties?
We're still moving wounded out of the building. We've set up casualty collection on the north lot. Our preliminary is 10 dead, 25 wounded, most of which have already been transported to Central Hospital.
Okay. Victim assistance?
We're helping set up a family assistance center in the gym. Headquarters is looking at securing financial and other resources for victims.
Good. What about witness interviews?
We're setting up in Stevens Hall. We have buses taking kids over there. The FBI is helping us handle the interviews. There's hundreds.
Understood. The long-term plan?
We're going to need to talk about manpower to sustain this investigation.
Well, that's a big lift.
Yeah, but it's critical.
Okay, we meet back here in 1 hour to talk about that. What about the press conference plan, Fred?
Carl, you should be the face of this thing. This is your campus, your crime scene.
I hate talking to the press.
I know, Carl, but I have to agree. This first one should be yours. Now, I can handle it if you really don't want to, but we do need someone who's going to be good with the press.
You only have to make a short statement now, and we expect your university president and the mayor will want to say something too. We can help your people with that. Sir, we have Agent Schmidt working with Officer Larimore on talking points and setting up the press area.
She's been doing this for 10 years. She can walk you through the plan. It'll take 15 minutes.
Chief, uniform.
Okay.
I was just walking into my classroom, and we heard noises out in the hallway.
What kind of noises?
Loud popping noises. So
I went. He had a hoodie up over his head, and it was really in the shadow, so I didn't get.
I just saw a lot of people running around. 2 big bangs, and I was just really scared in the moment. Didn't know what was going on.
Our goal is to provide you with the most accurate and timely information. How do we find her? What are we doing? So I will be that person that's going to make sure you get that information the best that we can.
She's 5'5", I don't know, 125 pounds.
She's 120 pounds.
Okay. Now, do you know what class she was planning on attending this morning?
Yes, it was, chemistry, I believe.
Okay, so she was attending chemistry. Now, do you...
Tom, Beverly, we're Rosemary's parents.
I remember you. Have you seen Rosemary yet?
No.
We haven't seen Sarah either.
We got lucky.
C just gave us a positive hit on quick capture. Our shooter's Raymond Nichols from Omaha, Nebraska, a former student. Dropped out of school last year but was still living in town.
Okay.
Let's try that.
Sir, we found him. Great. One assault charge in his home state of Nebraska, resulting in a restraining order. That's his parents' address.
Call Omaha. Let's get some agents out there. Hey, Don. The parents are in Omaha. We should have something for you soon.
Roger that.
Do you need any bomb tech support?
No, sir.
Stacy, victim assistance.
Sir, the 800 number is up and running. We received emergency funding from DOJ to assist with victims and families, and 4 of our rapid deployment team members are on the scene to help set up the Family Assistance Center.
Denise, media.
Don's office already has its public affairs specialist on site. We'll be sending 2 additional, one from Boston, one from LA, to help with national media and long-term needs.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, thank God you're okay. Oh.
Have you seen Rosemary? Her parents are here too.
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Stan, the Appomattox University Chief of Police. Behind me are County Sheriff Bertani, State Police Commander Wilson, Fire Chief Thompson, and FBI Special Agent in Charge Zernecki. We also have the university president and the mayor with us. At approximately 9:45 a.m. today, a 21-year-old male former university student opened fire on individuals in and around Longfellow Hall. I can confirm we currently have 10 deceased and approximately 25 wounded. The wounded have been transported to Central Hospital. I can confirm that 2 police officers responded to the sound of gunfire within minutes and engaged the shooter, killing him. These officers saved countless lives today. We've identified the shooter and will release the name pending family notification. We've established a toll-free number and urge those looking for information on loved ones to call for guidance and assistance. This is an active investigation, and I will provide you information as soon as I can. Our university website and social media feeds will post everything we say here. Although we have received reports of a second shooter, we have no evidence to support this. And I want to assure you that we are confident that the campus is safe and secure. We have a lot of work to do. We'll return here in 90 minutes to provide you with an update. Our deepest sympathies go out to the families and loved ones who are dealing with this tragedy. Our entire community mourns this senseless loss of life. Thank you.
Our agents found Nichols' parents. They're cooperating fully. Tough day.
Yeah, tough. Not done yet.
I'm Robert Anderson, Executive Assistant Director of the FBI.
Throughout my nearly 30 years in law enforcement, beginning as a Delaware State Trooper and later as a special agent, I've seen a wide range of threats to our nation. One of the fastest growing threats have been active shooter incidents. Between 2000 and 2013, the FBI identified 160 active shooter cases in the United States, and the rate of these incidents continues to rise. Our methods of responding to these traumatic, fast-paced events have changed dramatically. The film you just watched shows how it saves lives when responding officers take swift and decisive action. It also shows how the proper management of these events is crucial to delivering the best care for the wounded, for processing the scene, and providing assistance to victims and their families. We've asked law enforcement executives from around the country who have lived through these events to share their experiences and lessons learned with us.
We had 10 bodies in the theater. We had a number of people dead at the hospital. We had untold numbers of people shot.
Obviously, you're going to get emotion when there's such a loss of life, especially such precious children that were lost that day.
There was a total of 19 students that were stabbed, and they were puncture wounds or slashings.
We received a call within 60 seconds of the incident that a shooting had occurred in the airport.
I was grabbed by a detective from the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. He informed me that there was an active shooter at the Washington Navy Yard.
Hassan fired about 146 shots inside and 76 shots outside.
Well, the shooting itself was over in 5 seconds. A total of 5 rounds were fired.
I was shot 3 times and was one of the most critically injured survivors from the shooting.
I responded to Sandy Hook Elementary School for the shooting that occurred there. When I first arrived on scene, there was a lot of chaos with, just law enforcement throughout the area. The area was pretty well jammed with cars, so it was difficult to get in and out of there.
The difference between a military base and civilians is that it seemed most of the soldiers were trying to engage and trying to help, and so they're running towards the gunfire.
It was an absolutely chaotic scene. I also know that the fire service, they were overwhelmed outside the theater when they arrived, and hundreds of panicked and some injured people descended upon the fire folks, the fire crews. If you run into an event where there is mass casualties, your absolute first obligation is to eliminate the threat. If the best available information you have as you respond is that the shooter is on the 4th floor killing people, then you got to get to the 4th floor, and you got to get there in a hurry. You can't be doing a slow clear of the 1st floor. That may require you to step over people who are critically wounded to address the threat.
Our big concern that day was to get into that school as fast as we could. All 3 of us had our bulletproof vests in our cars. None of us put them on.
When I arrived at the scene, the shooting had stopped, but the chaos was still there. Not knowing how the individual who came with a gun got to the airport, whether there was a vehicle that was parked in one of our lots with an explosive device in it or some other or something else, and whether or not there was another individual that was laying off that may start opening fire once your resources begin to converge on the one terminal.
And then immediately after we arrived, somebody said second shooter because we heard gunshots, and unfortunately they were practicing a funeral about 4 blocks away, so they're firing blanks.
In numerous situations, you will have reports of second and third shooters, and as we know, this is oftentimes not the case. But as we sometimes have responders, first responders who are not wearing law enforcement gear, they may be mistaken for second and third shooters.
I remember feeling for a very short time that what we had here was almost overwhelming with the situation we faced. And with our officers, there weren't enough. I got on the police radio and I began to call for assistance from local police departments, surrounding police departments. We had crime scene coming. Pennsylvania State Police came.
I made 2 phone calls right away. The first phone call I made was to my city manager, my boss. I told him what was going on, and then I picked up the phone and I called the Denver field office of the FBI. I called the SAC, and I explained what we had and that I needed every bit of resources that they could bring to bear.
Much kudos to the FBI because we did not even call the FBI, but they showed up. The supervisor agent came up to me and wanted it to be very clear that he wasn't there or they weren't there to take over the investigation, that they would help us in any way they could. State police was the same way. Establish those relationships with fellow law enforcement agencies from the federal to the local levels, because you will need it, and that way you don't become overwhelmed with the task at hand.
You had to have that difficult conversation. That's not always easy to have. Who's in charge? While there was a lot of people there, and very high-level people, everybody was there for the right reason, and they realized, okay, state police are in charge of the criminal investigation, but we're all going to bring whatever we can and resources together to get the job done.
We have crossover with the fire EMS people very often, and they do come under our unified command. There's no issue at all. When we get to the scene of calls, we all understand what we're doing here.
And the unified command set up in the library with the FBI and the state police, and the governor even came, having everybody there to discuss and lay out the plans on how to recover the evidence, electronic evidence and everything like that, things started to fall in place.
Before you could even realize what was going on, we had over 500 officers in our airport looking for work and looking for something to do.
We did have a whole lot of cops show up, and we had to figure out what to do with them. But that is a priority in your leadership, is to make sure that the folks who respond check in, get assignments, or go to a standby area until you need them.
The fire department does a very nice job of rolling into incidents. They come generally from a fire station. They park nicely. They put their tarps out, and they are very, very organized. Police officers don't work that way. They will park on lawns. They will park on top of each other. They're cattywampus. They just want to get to to wherever it is they need to go.
To keep the pathway for vehicular traffic for emergency vehicles, specifically ambulances, who are coming there to get the victims out, played a critical part in getting these victims to the ambulances and to the hospitals, to the trauma units, to get them help.
It took more hours to clear off the central terminal area of emergency vehicles, police and fire and others, FBI vehicles also, than it really should have. In fact, we couldn't even find the owners and drivers of some of the vehicles, and we ultimately were towing police vehicles to a parking structure just to get them out of the way.
If there's a lesson for the American Police Service and the Fire Service, it is that we have to be better at getting to the wounded with critical care and getting them out of warm zones.
Our ability to be able to provide force protection in a relatively short period of time, to be able to have officers taking the injured to a marshalling area in that warm zone and being able to have the firefighters treat the individuals is a relatively new concept.
We did what they call a warm zone clearing. We were at the patient's side by video. Again, we have this all on video within 4.5 to 5 minutes of the call. Even the trauma surgeons have told us that made the difference, at least in one of the persons surviving this event.
Our police officers managed to locate some buses from the local bus authority, and we convinced hundreds of these witnesses to get on buses and go to a local high school and be interviewed.
There was 23,000 people in the airport. About 1,000 of them were in the terminal when the incident occurred and became part of our witness management issues. I was able to put one of my assistant chiefs in charge of that particular aspect of it because it was a large piece to handle.
I would say well over 100 people needed interviewed. The FBI, state police, and other people went out and interviewed these victims at the hospitals. But without the local police departments helping us, we would quickly have been overwhelmed.
I think that one of the biggest roles for a police department in the aftermath of an event like this is managing the victims and providing every possible service to them. We mobilized the resources of the victim advocate community in Colorado, by the way, including the victim advocates who worked for the Denver field office of the FBI. And we assigned to every family a victim advocate to manage their issues and concerns.
And you have to always be honest with them and always keep them first and foremost in how you do things going forward.
No one can be prepared for the media crush that comes with this event. I got back to my office at 5:36 in the morning, and I see 187 unanswered phone calls. My PIOs couldn't use their 2 phones for about 12 hours because all they did was ring.
The media is going to be such a critical part of what's going on with you. Give them what you can, you know, and don't allow them or don't give them the time to create the story.
All our decisions with regard to how to handle the media, a critical advisor and a partner in handling that was the SAC from Denver and his press expert. We also had in the room for those critical decisions the district attorney, and the United States attorney was very helpful. And by the way, the attorney general for Colorado was there.
Our incident occurred after the Boston bombing at the Boston Marathon. They relied heavily on social media and Twitter and pushing a lot of information out. We did that also, but we didn't address the reporters and their cameras as quickly as we probably should have. In most cases, there's a tremendous amount of information and lessons learned on the totality of an incident, and that's where it's critical that every agency complete a detailed after-action report. It's going to be painful, I can promise people. Get ready for that pain, but in the end, it's part of our duty, and it's the right thing to do.
If there is a criticism, and it came out in the after-action report, it's that we didn't establish unified command between police and fire early enough. It would have been better had we had the person in command of fire and the person in command of police meeting face-to-face and sharing information sooner than we did. That didn't occur to around the 50-minute mark. It would have been nice if it occurred sooner, and it's a fair criticism.
The one thing that I would have done differently going forward would have been, prior to us closing down that command post, had a clear plan for everybody involved going forward, because there was definitely some loss of communication for a short time period for the couple weeks following.
I got caught up into a lot of the operational issues that were going on that particular day, and essentially I wanted to play. I wanted to be a part of the unified command. I wanted to be a part of that particular incident. What I learned was I needed to step back. I needed to step out of the unified command and be more of an agency executive, and to deal with the much broader airport issues that were there. If I had to do it all over again, I would give a press conference within the first 45 minutes of the incident. We clearly had an understanding of what happened by then.
I'm a passionate believer after this event that cops have to be trained, that there's an inevitability to this, that they have to have a mindset that this absolutely could happen to you and your agency.
To officers entering a space or a room where there are victims, I would say, please try to acknowledge us, even if you have to step over us, because there's just a lot of fear on our end. And so for you to stop and say, I see you, I'm going to come back for you, is very empowering. Keep saying your name. The only reason I remember my paramedics and Patrick's name are because they kept repeating to me. And there's a sense of, I think, connection and humanity in that was very hopeful. You're giving us hope at that point. Most people's interaction with police is being, I guess, stopped at a traffic stop or hearing negative media accounts. But I can't deny that these 40 people ran into this building and saved us. I'm going to get emotional, sorry. So there's nothing but gratitude.